Okay. All right. Am I back? I don't know. Am I back? Yes. Okay. Looks like I am. All right. I'm there. To reset this because this went out of whack. Hello, everybody. Yeah, something happened. Lost my internet connection completely. I don't know what the heck happened. But anyway, so now let me go back here. And of course, so everything will be all screwed up. Completely. Of course. Like always. Everything will be screwed up 100%. Yeah. So there we go. All right. Yeah, I know. Where is that? It was here. It was here, I promise. It was here. There we go. All right. I promise it was there, and now it's gone. No, I'm here. I'm here. I'm on. I'm on. I'm on everything. I'm on it all. Looks like. Sorry about that, kiddies. I apologize. You know, the technical difficulties happens. Technical difficulties happen occasionally. That's live streaming, live shows. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what happened, but I lost everything. I lost my entire internet connection. So chances are it was my ISP that died. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get things kicked. I know I need to fire that damn producer. Let's go ahead and get everything kicked off here tonight. Tonight's Pledge of Allegiance is going to be done by none other than that fine, wonderful, underpaid, and overworked producer, Nana of JJS. She's over in the green room right now getting herself ready. So if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with Nana of JJS as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank her for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and attach it to an email. Send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online, and I will get you into the rotation. I have 25 of these wonderful items. I'd like to get 26 by the end of 2026, so if you haven't sent yours in yet, please do so. And if you use your phone to record it, you can use the share option. That's the S-H-A-R-E option. And share it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective .online. Oh, boy, what a night. It's Thursday. Man, is the week over yet? Not quite. Friday's coming. Friday is tomorrow. Tomorrow is tomorrow, and today is today. And today will become tomorrow, and tomorrow will be what is in the past, which was yesterday. Sorry. Anyway. Yeah, one of these days I'm going to have to actually get the actual phraseology that she uses for that entire thing. But anyway, I digress. All right, tonight's headline sponsor, and I know this ain't going to come up. Because gosh forbid anything actually run properly around here. Anyway, I've got all kinds of freaking things popping up. But anyway, tonight's headline sponsor is, of course, theamericanview.com. That's right. Theamericanview.com is where the internet home of the organization known as The American View resides. Now, The American View is formerly known as the Institute on the Constitution. And that's right. The Institute on the Constitution, longtime sponsor of this program. Well, the American View changed over here recently, and basically what the American View is they are an independent educational organization dedicated to the objective, textual, and historical study of the foundational documents of the United States. That's right. They do a wonderful job, and hey, if you want to take one of their classes, man, I suggest you start with the online U.S. Constitution course. That's right. Learn from the founders. Start your constitutional journey. Lesson 1 is free. Enter your first name, last name, email address. Click on the Get Lesson 1 free right here, this button, where the blue and white are flashing. Flash warning. Anyway. And once you do that, you'll get a sample of the entire book. Well, then what you can do is you can go and purchase the U.S. Constitution course right here for $76. It's $76 is where you go. And, head on over to theamericanview.com/study. You'll be able to see. You get the student manual. It's in PDF form. The entire thing, I'm just telling you, the entire thing is all electronic. There's 12 20-minute lessons given by the Institute on the Constitution's president. And you'll get quizzes. You'll get all kinds of stuff. You'll get a graduation certificate. It's worth 1 full semester credit hour for high school, civics, or government, for private homeschools, so on and so forth. And anyway, once you do that, and you go through some of their other courses, you can think about joining their community. You can either donate and be a sponsor, become a member, or better yet, become an instructor. Leave a legacy behind you. Restore the constitutional republic and prepare the future by hosting a course in your community. When you host a course in the community, you can take 3 simple steps and become a instructor for the American View. And they also, this video, by the way, will tell you how that is done. And then you also have this video, 5 tips for a successful class. I suggest you watch both. That's right. And then you can prepare yourself even further by acquiring their instructor kit. Their instructor kit is a comprehensive resource crafted to empower individuals passionate about the U.S. Constitution to share its significance with others. The kit is structured. It gives you everything you need in order to run this class. It is well thought out, well put together, well done. Well done, Taylor Twolman. Or anybody who's a soccer fan would understand that. Well done. Anyway, you can purchase that instructor kit, by the way, by heading over to their shop. Let's go to theamericanview.com/shop, and you'll be able to pick up their instruction or their U.S. Constitution course, other educational resources. They got all kinds of books and things. Self-Evident Apparel, that's their parent company, Self-Evident Ministries. There's your instructor materials right there in the next column, and it was from left to right, by the way. And, of course, this last one is my personal favorite, the Legacy Library. The Legacy Library is like an old friend in complete leather. Ooh, I love my leather. That's right. You got the leather Declaration of Independence, the leather Bill of Rights, the leather Magna Carta, the leather U.S. Constitution wall hanging, which comes in a set of 4. That's an awful lot. Those are 7 pieces of leather that have fantastic foundational documents on them. Someday, I hope to have those and seal them up in some nice hermetically sealed frames. But I highly recommend you start off with this wonderful item right here. That's right. This is the sexy rounded corners Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution. And by the way, G tells me that the Pocket Constitution promoted and sampled by the great constitutional scholars such as Billy of the Outlaw Dogs. Three Chevy says each rounded cornered book has a 100-year guarantee such that if you don't like what's inside of it, you can leave and go somewhere else. Yeah, sexy rounded corners. I know, I got it. Here we go. There's 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. No cheap glue here, folks. This is stitched all the way through the book and the pages it contains. It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if there is a problem, you can send this back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free. It is pocket-sized, travel-ready, legacy-ready, meaning that you can hand this down from generation to generation as an heirloom item. Get yours today and promote those leftists getting gastrointestinal problems. It is buddy tested, buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. My youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed that you can use this book to study and achieve your civics badge in Scouts as well as your civics exam. Not to mention the fact that you also have the naturalization test. That's all a part of it, too. Grab your Constitution, your leather-bound U.S. Constitution today by heading off to theamericanview.com. Go to their shop. Go to their legacy library, and you will find it right there. Or, and I have checked this, or you can use the website Constitution. Yeah, I took it off. Constitution.americanperspective.online. That's right. Constitution.americanperspective.online will take you right to that leather-bound U.S. Constitution. I thank The American View for being a sponsor of this program, a long-time sponsor of this program. That's theamericanview.com. Go and check them out today. All righty, folks. Oh, goodness. Well, sorry for the technical difficulties at the beginning of the program. That means I got to go and maybe cut and paste and do some things after the show so I can get everything all cleaned up, especially for the audio listeners, because otherwise you'll hear me cussing in the background. Anyway, speaking of cussing, as most Americans should be cussing, the Democratic Socialists, well, there's a new poll out here that show that the new Democratic Socialists in New York are not quite as popular as they once thought. So a significant portion of the population, apparently, up in New York City, do not support Ma'am Danny's Democratic Socialists. That's right, only 30% of New Yorkers. Now, why it's even that high, I have no idea. I mean, to me, that should be like less than zero. But let's face it, we have stupid people in America. They're all over. That's right. They are all over. So this was a Siena University poll. It was released yesterday, revealed that 47% of New Yorkers hold an unfavorable view of the DSA, the far-left political organization that is taking over the Democrat Party. That's right. I got something there for that in just a minute. 23% are unsure. Why would you be unsure about this thing? I mean, let's face it. Why? What positive do these people, and by that I'm talking about the DSA, what positive do these people actually have here? It makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. If you just listen to them, they want to destroy the very foundation that this wonderful foundational document that has kept us, unfortunately, it's been overgrown, but kept us going in the right direction. And by right, I'm not meaning right as in right-leaning. I'm saying correct direction over 250 years. Well, not quite 250 years for this thing, but quite a few years. So anyway, as I was saying, I don't even understand. How can 23% basically say, oh, yeah, we're not sure. We're not sure. I don't know if this DSA stuff is really cool. Let me give you a little hint, the unsure people. The Democratic Socialists of America are literally socialists. Don't be sucked in by that Democratic name. They are socialists. And let me explain to you what happens when socialists are brought in as the government of choice. You get killed. All you have to do is look at Pol Pot, Mao Zedong, Stalin, Lenin. I mean, their history is littered, literally littered, with the bodies of people who thought that socialism was just this great, wonderful thing and that it was going to solve all of our problems. Yeah, like like G points out, I don't know if he's on the couch tonight, but hey, wherever. G points out and says, you know, when the wall fell, the Iron Curtain fell, what side did people run to? Germany, East Berlin, West Berlin. Everybody in East Berlin who was there ran to West Berlin. End of story. Now, I actually visited Berlin after the wall had come tumbling down, so I couldn't tell you anything about that because I didn't get over there until 1991, 92. Anyway, so yeah, 91. That's right. 91. So anyway, I don't know. I don't understand this. I mean, the people that support this stuff, yeah, you guys are completely stupid. I would love to bring you into the light, but you're too stupid to know that you don't, you really need to follow the light, I should say. But the undecideds are, you have a slight bit of an excuse, but not much of one. I mean, really, you don't, because you obviously are not studying history or have seen history. I'm in my 50s. I'm broke down. I'm old, sort of. But I remember a lot of the time of the Cold War and everything else. So, leave it to us Gen Xers. We'll get you going. We promise. Anyway, so the DSA has apparently affected the Democrats so much that the Democrat Party itself is doing everything that they possibly can to try and prove that they are not socialist. In fact, they put out a pledge. This pledge apparently was designed to be, hey, I pledge to be anti-socialist. Well, yeah, let's hear from the guy that, one of the guys that was there.
More moderate-leaning Democrats came out with a new pledge that they circulated among their colleagues in the House, and the pledge was this: we are Democrats. We support capitalism. We do not support socialism. That, Scott, I kid you not, that was their pledge. I mean, it is unbelievable. But this socialist infection of the Democrat Party by the DSA wing, the communist wing of the Democrat Party. They have taken over. And you're right. When AOC is leading the Democrats in the 2028 presidential race against J.D. Vance leading it on our side, it's going to be an epic battle between two totally fundamentally different worldviews about what America is. Is America good or not? And where America is going. And that's going to be on full display in 2028, but it's on full display in this midterm election in 2026 as well.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that pledge, by the way, 202 refused to sign it. That's right. the Democrat Party put out this pledge that basically says we support capitalism. We are not socialists, which being in America, you absolutely should be not socialist just by its very nature, because socialism and socialists, the very definition of socialism is essentially government controlling the means of production. Can't get any simpler of a definition than that. I mean, even the stupid people can get that one. And only 10 of the 212 Democrats signed it. You know, several years ago, I put out, and I still have the memes, but I put out some memes on the socials, and I basically said, rightfully so, that, oh yeah, no, 3 Chevy, that's two, those are currently sitting Democrats. 3 Chevy asks, Rick, is that 202 candidates or 202 people now in office? No, those are 202 Democrats in the House as of right now. Now, all of that being said, I put out this meme a long time ago, and I basically said, hey, you know, these elections, they're not Democrat versus Republican, red versus blue. They literally are Americanism versus socialism. And here we're right back in it again, baby. That's right. 2026 and beyond. Because trust me, this has been like 40, 50, 60 years in the making. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that this, and anybody who does, anybody who sits there and looks at you and goes, you know what, this whole socialist thing, this thing just sort of flipped the switch overnight. I mean, oh my gosh. All of a sudden we got these socialists everywhere. Oh no, that's not how they work. Listen to Yuri Bezmenov. He told us way back in the early 80s, he told us, he's like, hey, you guys, hello, we use the useful idiots to get in and subvert everything. That's what they do. That's how they do it here that's what the Soviet Union was going to do to America. That was their play. They were like, we don't need to bomb you. Cold War, s'more war, whatever. I don't know. There's no reason to even bother going to take up arms against you. There's none of it. Because we're just going to subvert you from the inside. And as Ronald Reagan pointed out, that if fascism ever came to America, it would come in the name of liberalism. Well, he missed it by a little bit. He said fascism. It's actually socialism, which, people don't understand where fascism actually came from. Fascism was a Benito Mussolini creation, and he was a socialist prior to becoming a fascist. So you sit here and you look at socialism and communism and fascism. They're all the same side of the coin, folks. They're basically just, a little bit of dirt on that coin, all put together. That's all I'm telling you. Anyway. So, yeah. They're still doing it. They're going to try. So here is the pledge that was circulated. Let me see if this one is if this is an obvious thing. Yeah, so this is it. The promise to America is right here. They have got a website. thepromisetoamerica.com is where the thing goes. But the pledge that was circulated basically said in these key points: we are capitalists, not socialists. We want safety, not lawlessness. We are responsible, not reckless. We believe government should solve problems, not create them. Boy, that's a bunch of bull crap. Democrats, not just socialists, but Democrats by themselves believe in big government. Anyway, they go, we are mainstream, not extreme. Yeah, you're not mainstream at all. And then it goes, we are proud, not ashamed of America. That's what they are. So that's what they are. And, yeah. Anyway. These people. I'm just going to tell you, these people. All right. Let's see. Well, if you want to know and have a good idea as to what, everybody kind of looks at socialism and they keep thinking, okay, this whole socialism, this whole DSA policy platform, it's designed to provide more money for the average person. We're going to get rid of the whole oligarchy idea. We're going to get rid of millionaires and billionaires. We're going to make them pay. They're going to pay all the taxes. Anybody who's middle class or below, you guys are going to get completely absolved. You're going to get everything for free. That's kind of in a nutshell what the DSA platform is essentially calling for. Well, according to the Cato Institute, yeah. And I'm not saying that the Cato Institute is anything to really laugh at or scoff at or, anything else, but they did an analysis. And here's what the analysis said. It says, using lower bound estimates, the DSA agenda would actually raise U.S. government spending to 57% of GDP. Now, for those of you that don't understand this, we actually want GDP, which is gross domestic product, to be funded vastly by private entities. That's capitalism. See, we don't want government to be the biggest piece of GDP. Because when government starts spending, see, government doesn't create anything. See, that's the fallacy that everybody seems to be under. Government cannot give you what it does not take from somebody else. End of story. Government does not create. Government shifts things around. Now, somebody would look at me and say, well, government creates money. Well, yeah, but when they create money, they tank the value of the dollar and create what's known as inflation. So the less money the government prints, the less money the government spends. What that does is that helps to lower the interest rates, lower the inflation rate, and make it so that your dollar, your everyday dollar, is more valuable. Now, look, I'm not going to kid you. The idea where we went to this fiat currency, when we went away from the gold standard, it was naturally built in that your money would basically be less valuable 2% year over year. That was the target. In order for us to actually gain value in the dollars, we would end up being in a deflationary scenario. And believe me, there's a lot more to that would cause potential challenges even on that side. The point is, you want it as near zero as possible year over year. That's impossible based on what's already baked into the cake. Your dollar loses 2%, is expected to lose 2% on average year over year. Now, when Trump was last in office, we had inflation rates. That's essentially where the inflation rate is supposed to be. And when Trump was in office, the last time, Trump 1.0, it was under 2%. It was running at 1.4, 1.6, 1.9. And we were doing really, really well. The economy was running great. And then we had Dr. Fauci step in and, do all of his COVID crap. And that destroyed us. And then we ended up with 9% inflation under Joe Biden after his first 18 months in office. And we're still reeling from that because unlike what a lot of people think about, okay, is a lot of people think that, oh, the inflation rate has gone down. It's gone down to 2 or 3 or whatever percent. No, it hasn't. It's just now 2 or 3 or 4% over what it was last year. So when you had that year where everything was increased to 9%, and then it dropped the next year to like 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it ended up being, it was only 3 or 4 or 5% higher than it was when it was under 9% year over year. See, again, the object is to target a 2% average inflation. So it's gradually going to go up at an angle across all that time. Anyway, continues down here, shows you a graph. So, yeah, there's your look at the DSA government spending. Whoops, sorry. Shoot. Here we go. This is bigger. Let's get this over. So there's the DSA, or the DSA's spending. So, yeah, it would consume up to 92% of the U.S. economy should they put it in place. Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, I'm just saying, man, when they sit there and they talk about how, oh, we're going to give you free stuff, there is no such thing as free. There's free air. Okay, your oxygen that you're breathing is free. Sort of free water, but not really. Okay. Anyway, the point is, whatever government does, government cannot give you something for free. There is always a cost. Nothing is free. There is no such thing as a free lunch. There is always some sort of a cost to it, somewhere, somehow. And the DSA sitting there trying to tell you, oh, yeah, you know, it's free. It's free. No. So basically, when you look at the top 9 policy priorities like universal health care, reparations, federal jobs guarantees, housing for all, infrastructure and transit spending, green energy investments, publicly funded retirement, paid family leave, free college, yeah, the taxpayers would be looking at a bill of at least $71.2 trillion over just the next decade. We're already at almost 36, 37 trillion. I think, I don't even remember what the number is anymore. And by the way, that's the lower end of the estimate. That's already on top of any of the federal government's current financial burden, which right now our budget deficit is looking to be around $2 trillion. Trillion dollars. Our current budget is $2 trillion. Well, that lower estimate actually breaks that 10-year cycle, breaks it down. That's 71.2. 71.2. You're looking at 7.12 trillion per year in additional government spending. And that's roughly doubling what the government spent in the fiscal year of 2025. Now, you think we're headed toward bankruptcy now with the current spending that we have? Just wait till the DSA people get involved and they want, and do all of this wonderful feel-good stuff. See, folks, I'm just going to tell you, and this is the God's honest truth. You can like it, you can like me, you can hate me, whatever, for saying it. The fact of the matter is, all of these government welfare programs, these feel-good programs, welfare, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, any of this other stuff, that none of it is constitutional when you read the Constitution under Article 1, Section 8. Now, in order for us to divest ourselves from those things, yeah, it's going to be a little bit. We're going to have to figure out a way to do it because there are a lot of seniors right now, and those of us who are getting ready to enter into the senior life, we've been paying into this. We've been paying into this with the idea that we were going to get our money's worth back. But folks, that money's gone. That money's gone. And it's not coming back. Right now, what the government is doing is they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. And we can't survive that way for very long because we're taking more from Peter than we really should be taking. And this is the problem. So, now, all of this, by the way, is sitting here saying, the DSA is saying, well, we're going to tax the rich. We're going to tax the billionaires. Okay. Let's see. Elon Musk. He's worth what? 2 trillion, I think? He passed 2 trillion. That's assuming that you sell off everything that he possibly owns. Everything. Stocks, bonds, all of it. Keep in mind, the minute that he starts selling off those stocks are going to take a hit in terms of their value. And the more he sells off of that stock, the harder it's going to tank. So you can't just go and grab Elon Musk's $2 trillion because he doesn't have $2 trillion just sitting around in, gold or whatever kind of bullion or whatever. And even with gold, if gold was starting to go onto the market, its value would tank because more of it would be available. See, the way this all works, no matter what the object is, folks, no matter what the object is, it has to have value to somebody in order for you to be able to sell it. If it does not have value to somebody, then it's worthless, which is essentially what would happen if for our paper currency, if the United States ended up going bankrupt. The only reason why the United States dollar is still actually being worked on today is fairly simple. Because the U.S. Constitution says the U.S. government can never be bankrupt. Okay? So even if you took Elon's $2 trillion, which it wouldn't be $2 trillion, but even if you took all of Elon's $2 trillion, you couldn't even fund the federal government today for more than a year. And by the way, you sell off everything that Elon has, there's nothing to go back to. There's no well to go back to. It's gone. It's no longer there. And if you think you're going to do that on a regular basis with every single billionaire and trillionaire that's out there, yeah, you're still not going to gain enough. You will not be able to fund the government for more than maybe 18 months. If that. And then where do you think they're going to go when they lose out from the billionaires or the trillionaires, and then they go to the billionaires, and then they go to the millionaires, and then they go to you and me, and eventually socialists run out of other people's money. Yeah, that's the reality. That's the truth. All right. So let's shift gears here. I'm a really big opponent of this idea of birthright citizenship. And there's a big problem with this. First of all, I happen to know the historical value. I've discussed a lot of that on this program. And the fear that the founders had of any kind of foreign influence, and this is really where I'm going, problem that we have right now with this decision, very poor decision by the Supreme Court of the United States, is that now all of a sudden we have essentially a legal green flag for things like sham marriage schemes, baby birth tourism is what they call it. Okay. Well, the good news is that the administration, at least for now, because keep in mind, if this switches over to the DSA or switches over to the Democrats in 2028, or even if everything shifts in 2026, the administration will continue to move forward, but they might get legally hampered by these idiots. But apparently 11 individuals in New York were indicted under this massive sham marriage network scheme. And by the way, it was largely benefiting Chinese nationals. And the Chinese are utilizing our own open policies and things like that against us. So the SCOTUS just played right into the Chinese's hands. And if you do not think that the Chinese don't already have American citizens that they have taken back to their country and are training them to come back over here and potentially flood, there's like 1 to maybe 2 million who are all going to hit about 18 years of age. And they're all going to come back here. They're going to be U.S. citizens because of this whole birthright citizenship bull crap. And they're going to come back here, and chances are they're going to start voting. And who do you think they're going to vote for? They're going to vote for the people who are going to destroy us. And when they get a little older, because they'll be 18 soon, but when they get a little older, they're going to start to run for government. They're going to start creating the policies. They're going to be working from within. Remember what I was telling you before about the whole socialist, the Soviet Union's plan. We don't have to go after you, army-wise. We don't have to approach you in any kind of conflictual way on a war battlefield. We're just going to have your stupid idiots that you have running around in this world. We're going to inject them. We're going to inject all of them into your institutions and everything else. We're just going to subvert you from within. And next thing you know, you're going to wake up in the American, all of the institutions that you believe in, they're all going to be gone because we're going to destroy them from within. And that's the whole plan. Anyway, this alleged scheme, marriage network scheme, went on for roughly a decade for over 1,000 phony marriages that had the exclusive purpose of gaining legal status in the United States. Some people were even paid upwards of $100,000 for this legal service. Blanche was at a press conference yesterday, and he says, gaining American citizenship and legal status to reside in this great nation is a sacred privilege, and we will ensure it is always done in accordance with the law, protecting our communities and national security. And that's really the case, is national security, folks. I mean, that's what we're dealing with, is national security. And he continues and says, this scheme was not a quick fly-by-night operation, but rather a years-long multi-million-dollar cottage industry to criminally assist people to come here, gain a marriage certificate so that you can become a U.S. citizen and have your offspring be U.S. citizens. Because, again, all you have to do is be born within the United States border, according to the SCOTUS, even though every single historical reference, all of it, going all the way back to the original founding, has all demonstrated that no, the founders did not believe that just because you were born here, you could be an American citizen. You actually have to have complete and whole allegiance to the United States and nobody else. That's the defining factor. Secondarily, to you being born here. Anyway, so the indictments were entirely in New York City. The Justice Department indicated that there were alleged fake marriages elsewhere within the U.S., including in Massachusetts, Kentucky, Tennessee, and several other states. Inside, also, China and Vanuatu. V-A-N-U-A-T-U, whatever that is. Anyway. So basically what they were doing is pairing foreign nationals with U.S. citizens. Individuals would meet for the first time immediately before obtaining the marriage license. They would arrange the sham wedding ceremonies, stage photographs designed to make those look like they were in a marriage. All of this, by the way, is illegal. It is entirely illegal to do this. You know, if you get married to an alien, yeah, expect your rear orifice to be crawled around in for a little while. And if there's supposedly any hint that you're doing this just for money, yeah, you're probably going to get brought up on charges. But apparently they caught it now. So that's cool. Well, in conjunction with this, the State Department announced a new task force. They are going to go after birth tourism. So the new task force is called Birth Tourism Prevention Task Force. The initiative was launched less than a week after he signed the executive order to end birth tourism and protect the meaning of U.S. citizenship. The order states, quote, birth tourism operators use deceptive advertisements and inducements to entice foreign nationals to travel to the United States for the purpose of giving birth on American soil. They promote citizenship, they promise citizenship, access to public benefits, short-term stays in specialized facilities, hotels, rentals, but often fail to deliver on these promises. These operators coach their clients to misrepresent the purpose and duration of their travel to consular and border officials to obtain visas authorizing entry into the United States. Failure to appropriately combat these schemes has resulted in thriving industries, I should say, around the world that profit by enabling the evasion of American immigration laws in order to obtain citizenship or any other immigration benefits for foreign visitors, and the exploitation of the women who travel here for the purposes of giving birth. Now, the new State Department task force is going to prioritize identifying examples of birth tourism and dismantling these criminal networks. The focus is global, involving evaluating travel histories of individuals who have been coming to the U.S. from around the world. Consequences involve visa revocation, prosecution, deportation, and being barred from the United States. Now, overall, more than 600 birth tourism visas have already been revoked by none other than Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He's already kicked them off. And they should. Birth tourism facilitators market themselves as doulas, midwives, wellness advocates, while openly advertising birth in the U.S. services, visa coaching, and hospital arrangements, according to the State Department. Some forge medical documents or coach clients to conceal their true travel purpose and avoid paying hospital bills, while online marketing promising clients automatic citizenship and a future without borders. Now in Texas, Governor Greg Abbott directed a statewide initiative to end birth tourism. State agencies launched investigations into medical facilities located in border communities that were advertising to women overseas to give birth in Texas. One of the facilities had literally admitted that it had been advertising the website HaveMyBabyInTexas.com to the center square. That's a hell of a web address. HaveMyBabyInTexas.com. Anyway, so there you go. And this is part of our problem. This is part of the problem. People don't seem to get this. And there's a lot of people who sit here and talk about, the 14th Amendment, the framers of the 14th, they didn't really know about this. They didn't guess that this was going to be a problem. Actually, yes, they did. Because the main sponsor is named Senator Howard out of Michigan in 1866, May 30th. Look it up. It's in what is known as the Congressional Globe, which was the precursor to the Congressional Record. It literally wrote down every single debate, phrase, statement made by these senators. Senator Howard, May 30th, 1866, when he introduced the language of the 14th Amendment, clearly stated when he was introducing it that it did not in any way mean that foreigners, aliens, families of ambassadors, and other such classifications were going to be included in this. None of them. And they went back and forth about it. They had discussions about gypsies, about the Chinese, which, by the way, later on, the Chinese were even barred complete citizenship. They couldn't even apply for naturalization. That's where the Wong Kim Ark decision came from, which has and still is being misinterpreted. But all of that being the case, the 14th Amendment was never to include foreigners and aliens and illegals and coming here visitors, coming here just to drop a baby. It was never supposed to include that. It was supposed to include only the slaves that were here, that had been here, were born here, whether it was by their choice or not, but born here and were recently freed in 1865. Anyway, well, Trump is still looking to fight birthplace citizenship abuse since SCOTUS screwed up. And they're doing this, of course, by the new executive orders, which is essentially that continuing to protect the meaning and value of American citizenship. Trump clarifies the categories of foreign nationals that are to be denied birthplace citizenship, consistent with the court's ruling in Trump versus Barbara. The president ordered that birthplace citizenship is not recognized for children whose parents are alien enemies, including members of designated foreign terrorist organizations, which now includes multiple Latin American cartels. In the order, nor is birthplace citizenship to be recognized for for children of diplomatic personnel from foreign countries. And lastly, birthplace citizenship is denied for those whose parents engaged in this birth tourism, which is what they're going after. So anyway, all of this is a good thing, but yet the Democrats and especially the DSA, they're gonna be like, oh, yep, not gonna be that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen at all. Well, there's reasons why we don't want these people in this country. And here is yet another reason. Yeah. This happened in Oklahoma. There's an Oklahoma person who is sentenced to 21 months for threatening to kill federal agents. Now, I don't know where this guy came from, but he's an Oklahoma man, they say. Federal jury found him guilty of threatening to shoot, kill, and gun down federal agents. So, yeah. And not to mention also, California just had an illegal immigrant charged with the brutal slaying of a individual. He was on pretrial release for burglary. This is an illegal alien. And he allegedly stabbed a 68-year-old man in Martinez, California. He was released from pre-trial confinement, prepare for his trial, his burglary trial. And he went ahead and killed, stabbing a 68-year-old, at least that's what he's accused of, allegedly. So, yeah. This is why we don't want these people here. That's just one example. There's hundreds of them. I mean, Lake and Riley, any number of the girls that were raped and killed and murdered and all this other stuff. Well, killing and murdering is basically the same thing in this context, but, you know, they were all over. Raping, murdering. There's a reason why we want to keep our borders closed. There's a reason why we only want to bring in the best and the brightest. The ones that are going to come here and assimilate. The ones that are going to actually be American. See, you could even say, like, the Chinese that come here and, you know, drop the babies and take them back to their country to raise them over there. They have no idea what our cultures are. None. So what is the point? Why should they have citizenship when they, other than the time of their birth, they had never stepped foot in this country? I promise you, this is a long-term takeover of this country. We are seeing a long-term destruction of our nation, and it's happening really, really easily. All right, folks. That is it for me for this evening. Sorry about the trouble ahead of time. But do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget my new streaming platform, pilled.net, Pilled.net. Go and check it out. On your way out, don't forget to give me a thumbs up or a red pill, thumbs down or a blue pill, or a thumb sideways or at an angle if you're 3 Chevy. Across all my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, Pilled.net, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.